I'm going to tell you why I Still Know What You Did Last Summer is a top tier slasher movie.
Seriously, don't do that!
Yes, yes, yes. Hi guys, my name's Barry and welcome back to the channel and welcome to my segment, Hear Me Out. This is the segment where I defend the indefensible, challenge your favourites and make you rethink everything you thought you knew about movies. Whether I'm calling out a classic or hyping up a flop, all I ask is, hear me out. My recent Hear Me Out didn't go down too well when I said that Jaws wasn't a great movie. I think a lot of the comments that I got were from people who didn't watch my video, because obviously in the video I did ask people to be respectful in the comment section, and while the majority were respectful, there were a few, let's say, who were not too keen on being respectful. But hopefully in this video it's not too controversial, because I feel like a lot more people are now warming up to the fact that I Still Know What You Did Last Summer. It's not a bad film at all. I feel like those who didn't like I Still Know What You Did Last Summer probably haven't seen it since they last watched it back then. No, I'm not saying everybody. I'm just saying some people who did watch it and didn't like it, maybe they watch it again and they'll think that was better than I remember. And some may even say, top tier. We'll start off with the era that this movie came out in, the late 90s. This is the era of the teen slasher movie. When Scream came out in 1996, we had a slew of copycat movies. Some were good, some were bad, and of course, some were top tier. Although this movie came out off the success of Scream, it obviously had an original movie back in 1997, a year prior, called I Know What You Did Last Summer. However, I feel like I Still Know What You Did Last Summer copies movies like Scream a little bit more than it does its predecessor. The reason that I say that, and I'll get more into this, is this film feels like more of a whodunit than the first movie. In the first movie, I personally feel like we knew who the killer was. It was only the characters in the movie that didn't know who the killer was. Whereas in this one, we still think that Ben Willis is the killer, and he obviously is still the killer, but there's a twist in it, a twist that we shouldn't have seen coming.
No, I'm doing this since before you were a gleam in your father's eye.
So when you look back on I Still Know What You Did Last Summer, especially when you watched it for the first time back then, people just rolled their eyes and thought, you're just copying Scream. The budget for this movie was a reported $24 million, and I remember back in the day, this was over 25 years ago now, that the reported budget was $65 million. At the time, I thought, that's way too much, and I think that report is dying out now. I don't think a lot of outlets are saying that it cost $65 million. It's possible that it cost $65 million with the marketing included. That seems more realistic. However, if we revert back to the $24 million that it cost to make, then it seems a little bit more respectable, because domestically, it took in $40 million, and internationally, it took $44 million. So it came out with a respectable $84 million worldwide. Compared to the original's $125 million, then obviously it's a lot less than what its predecessor took, but still, $84 million for the end of the 90s was still great. Sadly, the scores from the critics and the audiences weren't good. I think the Rotten Tomatoes score was around 7%, which is awful. And also the audience score wasn't much better. It was 40%. 40% for a horror slasher movie that shouldn't be able to do anything wrong is pretty diabolical.
Bullshit.
I think with those scores, people thought this was just another throwaway sequel, and at the time, maybe it was, but when you look back, it's got that 90s DNA, but not only does it have that pure 90s nostalgic teen slasher DNA, it feels like it's more than that. Unlike some other films back then, this one had style, this one had suspense. There's a few underrated elements that I want to talk about for this film that makes it the top tier that it is, and the first thing I want want to talk about is the setting for this film. We've got ourselves a remote Caribbean island during off-season. Because it's off-season, it's isolated, it's got moody tropical storms, and it's got creepy abandoned hotel vibes. It subverts the typical suburban setting of slashers, and it gives it a unique identity. Another fantastic aspect of this movie is the score by Joseph Frizzell. I think the score is something that a lot of people don't talk about for this film, because when you watch it back, it's absolutely fantastic. The chase scenes are great. Every part of the score makes it feel more immersive than your typical 90s slasher movie. I feel like it elevates those key scenes, especially scenes involving the tropical storm. Despite a lot of the cast not going on and doing bigger things after the movie, I feel like the cast was still really strong compared to other movies back then. You've obviously got the return of Jennifer Love Hewitt and Freddie Prinze Jr. from the first movie. Although Freddie Prinze Jr. is not the greatest actor in the world, I still feel like both of them played the roles well as returning characters. You got new characters like Carla, played by Brandy, who I feel like was one of the strongest secondary characters that we ever got. I know that Jack Black had a cameo in this movie to the point where it was actually uncredited, and a lot of people don't like his character, but for some reason I always get drawn towards his character because I thought his character was genuinely funny.
Damn, that's cold, woman, all right.
Mekhi Phifer's in it, Bill Cobbs, Matthew Settle, Jeffrey Combs, the list goes on. I think all the secondary characters in here is what makes up a great cast. Another huge part of why this movie is really good is the cinematography. With it being set on this tropical stormed island, then you have to get that mood and atmosphere correct, and that's exactly what they did with this film. Now, this is a sequel to I Know What You Did Last Summer, but when you look at both of them side by side, they look completely different, and I feel like the cinematography, because of the setting, and I still know, is a lot better than the cinematography in the first movie. You got those rain-drenched scenes with all the silhouettes of the characters, and you also have Ben Willis being kept in the shadows. Of course, we knew that it's Ben Willis, or at least we thought we knew it was Ben Willis, and they've done a great job of keeping him in the rain and the shadows, hiding his face. We'll talk about the elephant in the room, the cheesy twist in the movie. Ever since I first saw that twist with Ben Willis' son, Will Benson.
Benson!
I loved it. Of course it was goofy, of course it was Scooby-Doo-like, but there's something about it that now, 27 years later, is iconic.
Hi, Dad.
It's a twist that, again, I've mentioned before, leans into that 90s cheese where it's very 90s, it's very forced, but it's forgivable. The twist doesn't ruin the film. It reminds you that it's a movie of its time, a late 90s teen slasher movie that has got a whodunit aspect. Unlike many other slasher movies of its time, like Urban Legends Final Cut and Valentine, this one actually has some tension in it. It keeps the final girl arc very strong, and most importantly, it has a coherent villain with a strong motive. I feel like it's more polished than I Know What You Did Last Summer in some ways. It's got a larger budget, a tighter pacing to it, and it looks absolutely gorgeous. Here's a fun fact for you. As you know, Jack Black's role in the movie was uncredited, but what a lot of people don't know is most of his performance was improvised. He didn't really have a script to go on, which is probably why he was left uncredited, but most of what you see in the final cut of the movie was improvised by Jack Black.
No water sports after midnight. That's hotel policy.
The script also originally had a different killer identity. They were thinking about bringing back Anne Heche's character to come into this movie and be the killer. They scrapped that, of course, and brought back Ben Willis because it was possible to bring him back, but also with a twist, they were able to bring in Ben's son.
Ben's son!
So you can mock the twist, you can question the logic, but you can't deny that I Still Know What You Did Last Summer goes harder than it has to. It's stylish, it's fun, and to be honest, it understood the assignment more than most of its peers. Nostalgia isn't always a bad thing. Sometimes what people consider trash ends up becoming treasure. So my final thoughts on I Still Know What You Did Last Summer is it's a top tier slasher movie, not just of the late 90s, but any slasher movie ever made. I feel like I Still Know What You Did Last Summer is potentially in that top 10. But what about you guys? Do you think the same as me? Is that a hot take? Leave your thoughts and opinions down below. Let me know what you think. And as always, thanks a lot for watching. Thanks for subscribing, and I'll see you soon.
Be right back.
What are you waiting for, huh?
Coming to get you, Barbara.
Ever played Skin the Cat?
Someone's in the back! See!